Welcome to KQEG and Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, wellness, and fitness. Well, a special show this week as we introduce you to one of the best track and field athletes that has ever worn a GET Red Hawk uniform. No question about it. Arguably one of the best in the state of Wisconsin. My guest this week, GET star Davis Wenthe. Welcome to the show, Davis.
Thanks for having me.
You know, when I talked to you before we went on camera, and I'm looking at you and reading your body language, and my first thought is that you are a humble athlete that doesn't shine the proverbial spotlight on himself. How did you develop that characteristic?
Well, I think a lot of people kind of mistake that I am the opposite of that. And a lot of people think because I'm good at what I do that I kind of like the spotlight on me, and I don't necessarily like shine the spotlight away from myself, but I would say that I'm fairly humble, and I guess I don't know.
Well, I just really am attracted to people like that because there's so much selfishness, I think, in sports nowadays. And it's refreshing to meet somebody like you. Do you try to model yourself after somebody in particular?
Well, actually, I think one of the biggest icons in sports is LeBron James, and he's kind of known for making everyone around him rise to the occasion, and I kind of like to do that as well, whether it's in like a school group or whether it's in sports. I want my teammates to be good as well.
It's interesting because in talking to some people at GET, they echoed what you just said. And it reminds me of a lot of sports psychologists, authors talk about gifted athletes, LeBron James, Davis Wenthe, and so on. Their job is to lift other people up. You're on a platform, you've been given a gift. And part of that gift is accountability and rising and raising people up. Give us an example of how you've done that.
One of my teammates in track and field, Luke Wenthe, he and I think have both pushed each other since he's a year below me. So my sophomore year and his freshman year, since then we've both kind of pushed each other in practices. And we definitely both made each other better because at practice we're both competing to outdo the other. And yeah, so I think definitely Luke has made me a better runner, and I think I've helped him be a better runner as well. As
we tape the show here on July 8th, again, our guest Davis Wenthe from GET just graduated. All of us go through disappointments in our life, and you as a young person have had a few, but in all probability you'll have a few more in your lifetime. But one of the biggest disappointments, the unpredictability of what happened this spring, is emotional, hard to accept. You are on the threshold of having another tremendous track and field season. We're going to talk about all the things you have accomplished during this interview this week. But all that was taken away. In a New York minute, it was gone. Athletic banquets, graduation ceremonies, emotional.
Yeah, I think it was especially tough because we weren't really given any straightforward answer out of the gate. It was all just kind of everything's up in the air, and it was that way for several weeks. And yeah, so at first I was kind of optimistic that things would blow over, or things would there was an easy solution to come back. But then yeah, after a few weeks of being up in the air, then it was just all gone.
How did you handle that disappointment?
I kept running, and I tried to kind of use some of that frustration to help motivate me to keep going. And so I was doing time trials on my own, and yeah, I just kind of used some of that to help fuel me to do as best as I could by myself and with some of the other we had a few guys that ran time trials.
So you didn't just hide underneath a pillow. You didn't just give up. You didn't self-destruct. You kept working. It reminds me of a quote given to me just today by your principal, Troy White, who's a good friend of mine. He said, when I think of Davis Wenthe, he said, I think of his work habits. I think of his dedication to the school, to the team, to academics and athletics. What's your thought on that quote?
Yeah, I think that me personally, I want to be the best in everything that I can. So whether it's school or sports, I try my best to learn as much as I can, or just get as good as I can do. I like to be as good as I can, and so I push myself to the limit and try to, yeah.
A great runner from the past, you don't remember, probably know the name, Wilma Rudolph. Tremendous athlete, Olympic athlete. She said this, to give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift. Now, when you just described what you did and what you're during this pandemic time of uncertainty, it reminded me of that quote. How does that quote really indeed reflects who you are, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a good quote. Yeah, I try to be the best at everything that I can, and I don't like putting a less than perfect performance or a less than perfect assignment or anything out there. I like to give it my all. You also said in your profile, this is pretty provocative, you said if people doubt you, or if people don't doubt you, I should say, then your dreams aren't big enough. Yeah, so how is that, does that happen to you? Yeah, I think that's one of my biggest motivators is when I say something that I have a goal set for myself or want to do something, and people kind of blow it off and say, oh, well, you're not going to do that, or you can't do that, that's too crazy, then that just makes me want to do it all the more to prove them wrong and prove that I could actually do that. So people have said that to you, that yeah. You've had dreams and they've said, Davis, I don't think you're ever going to get to that level. Yeah, and even like my freshman year, people didn't even think I was going to make the varsity team, and I ended up at state. I know. I read your resume. Here's another way to put that quote. If dreams don't scare you and challenge you and inspire you, they're not big enough. Is that you? Yeah. So when you were younger, going down the yellow brick road, people inspired you when you were young. They saw your gift, perhaps. They planted a seed. All of us have had people that have inspired us when we were younger, saw some things in us maybe that you didn't see yourself. Reflect on maybe somebody that inspired you. So my dad used to coach track when I was real little, and he does now again, but when I was little he would bring me to a bunch of practices, and I would always look up to all the then high school athletes that were on the team, and I would try to keep up with them at practices, and then go home and tell my mom all about them, and watch them at meets and cheer them on. And so when you look back then, as defining moments in your growth and your journey as a student athlete, that's where it began? Yeah, I would say, especially on the track side of things, being around track since I was like very, very little, that kind of snowballed into wanting to do track, and then wanting to be the best I could at track and keep going with it. Again, Davis Wenthe, and let's go back a little bit from GET, because a two-sport athlete, tremendous in the classroom. We're going to come back to that point. But two-sport athlete, but a football player too. Now, when you think of football in the Cooley region, and schools that are at the elite level, GET is one of them. Certainly last year, 10-2. I think he made it to the third round of the playoffs, got beat by
Sheen,
Yep.
10-0. But you won another conference championship, and you were part of that successful team too.
Yeah, I think we have had, my grade especially has had a lot of kids that are really dedicated to football, and it's kind of been our goal to make it to state, and we were a few games off this year, and which was disappointing. That was a disappointing way to end the season, but yeah, it was a great group of guys, and yeah, we all worked hard for that. And
you know, important thing about Davis Wenthe too is the fact that you have prioritized your life in terms of classroom and athletics. Student first, athlete second. Here's what's so incredible. National Honor Society, tremendous in the classroom, tremendous leader, valedictorian of his class. And you've accomplished just about everything. But you've always kept classroom and academics first.
So in a lot of people think that I'm not really trying in the classroom because like a lot of people, they'll take notes and just write down everything the teacher says. And I've actually found it easier if you just really listen and pay attention to what they're saying and not necessarily write the notes down right away. If you just take everything in, it makes the classroom stuff a lot easier. And I feel like that's kind of what I've done to help me do so well in academics, is I've just listened, and then when it comes time for testing or anything, then I just feel like it comes naturally.
Interesting. A lot of authors have talked about the demise of the art of listening. So many people don't know how to listen anymore. They're preoccupied with social media, they're preoccupied with other things, and their mind is cluttered. You've been able to overcome that and just focus on the moment.
Yeah. Like I said, I feel like it's way easier if you just take things in and really think about what is said instead of just focusing on only writing things down as fast as you can, or even worse, taking a picture of notes, and then you're not really retaining anything. But if you really truly listen to what's said, then you've got a better grasp of.
You have a better grasp of life, even though you're only 18 years old. My goodness! But wait until you hear about some of the things he's accomplished, particularly in the sport of track and field, when I share his accomplishments with you right after these messages.
With our busy lives, it's a comfort to know that we can still remember loved ones in a traditional way with a monument. Lewiston Monuments in Lewiston, Minnesota has been helping families purchase a monument for over 4 generations. You'll find a large selection of beautiful granite, marble, and bronze monuments, all at competitive prices. And they're a full-service company, so they also do straightening, cleaning, and repair of monuments. Stop in or call for a no-obligation consultation, or visit lewistonmonument.com for more information.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
Welcome back to 7 River Sports. This week, Davis Wenthe, one of the best athletes in the state of Wisconsin. Oh, wait a minute, maybe the best track and field athlete in the state of Wisconsin is my guest this week from GET. I promised in the first half I would share some of your accomplishments. Now, if I went through all of them, the show would end, and I'd still be talking. So I'm just going to summarize them. But in his freshman year, MVP, all conference, and won all kinds of awards, sectional and so on in his events. So sophomore year, MVP, same thing, all kinds of accomplishments. Last year as a junior, MVP again. MVP as a freshman, junior, sophomore, junior, and you would have been an MVP again. It's incredible as I look at all the things you have done. And the team, and we talked in the first half of the show about the team coming first to Davis Wenthe. The team, Coulee Conference champs, regional champs, the 3 years prior to 2020. Most valuable player each year, we talked about that. The records that he holds at GET, I need to say this, 200, 400, 800, 300 hurdles, long jump, high jump. I mean, unbelievable what you've accomplished. Your coach, David Wenthe, says you are the, Ryan Mendez, I'm sorry, says you are the best athlete he has ever coached. And Coach Mendez has coached a lot of really good athletes. The best that he's ever had. Your passion for the sport. I could go on and on and on, but I mean, reflect on some of that. Like, you got to be kidding me. Did you ever in your wildest dreams think you were going to accomplish that much?
I did think that I was going to accomplish that. I've kind of always knew that I could do things like that. It's just a matter of going out and doing them. And I think Mendez has definitely helped to bring out the best in me, and yeah, definitely helped me get me to where I am today.
And to top it off, just recently, Davis Wenthe was named the Gatorade Athlete of the Year in the state of Wisconsin in track and field. When I saw that press release, it was like the first time anybody at GET had ever won that state award. What was your thoughts when that came out?
Well, actually, Dana Fayen won that for cross country a few years ago. And so, yeah, I was the first ever boys Gatorade Player of the Year. And yeah, to be, I saw the video of that, and it's Peyton Manning opening up with "Welcome to the Gatorade family." And yeah, that was pretty cool. I did not expect that. I got a call from Mendez that morning, actually, and he said that I had won that, and I was not expecting that at all. So that was really cool.
Yeah, and well deserved, no question about it. When you look at his resume of achievements, it's just, I've never seen anything as impressive in high school track and field. Well, moving on to the next chapter of Davis Wenthe's life. A Division I scholarship in hurdles at the University of Wisconsin, Madison, Division I. You were recruited probably by other schools too. Take us through that recruiting process.
So after I won state last year in the 300 hurdles, I had a couple of schools reach out right away. Minnesota, their coach was at the state meet actually, and he talked to a few of my coaches and then was in contact right away. And then Madison, and then a couple of other schools came in a little bit later and started recruiting. But I kind of knew Wisconsin was where I wanted to be right away. I've always grown up being a Wisconsin Badger fan, and I think that's every little kid's dream, to be playing D1 sport for the Badgers.
So have you taken a look at Division I collegiate athletes, their commitment, the expectation, the level of competition, and do you feel confident you can fit in as a freshman?
Yeah, so I know it's going to be a jump as far as workouts go. The intensity of everything and just the sheer amount of work that is put in to be a D1 athlete is far greater than any high school sport. And so that's definitely going to be a bit of a transition, but I think I've got it in me to compete at that level with those guys, and I think I'll do fine.
Well, there's certainly a huge level of uncertainty with the pandemic in high school athletics and in classroom. What will it look like in the fall? What will it look like at Madison? We have a grandson, Julian, that's going to attend Madison too, great athlete at Logan. And have you been given any insight into what it may look like in Madison?
We've been told that it's kind of a play-by-ear sort of thing, kind of like how it was last year. I think given that we've had a couple of months to see how everything goes, I think it's a little less confusion about what's going on, but we haven't really been given a whole lot. We're just hoping to be back on campus and have some sense of normality that that comes this fall.
So are you doing a lot of training, cross-training this summer to prepare for Madison?
We all have kind of our team generalized workouts, and we're supposed to have more specialized workouts in the fall. But yeah, right now it's just kind of a grind to get in shape and get ready for the fall.
And so you're all set in Madison. Classroom, or class schedule, conducive to training and so on?
Actually, I'm supposed to go in on Monday to set my classes and everything. And yeah, I'm just hoping that everything's going to be, at least for my classes, in person.
Have you determined yet what your major may be?
I think I want to go into business. I'm not sure which specific category of business, but I definitely want to be somewhere in the business field.
So you don't want to follow your dad's footsteps and go into education?
No, I don't think that would be a good fit for me.
Now you have a younger sister too that's quite an athlete.
Yeah, she made it to state in the 300 hurdles as a freshman and was part of the 4x4 that made it to state. And yeah, she was looking forward to this season too, and was definitely bummed out that she didn't get to compete.
You know, a lot of people struggle that are really good athletes with the mental approach. That's where they fail because they're not prepared mentally. Is there a certain routine or a certain approach mentally to get yourself ready for competition?
I actually like to talk around with all the people that are in my event. I don't know why. I feel like that helps kind of relax nerves and everything. And so yeah, I'll go around and chat up a storm with everybody in my heat or in my event.
You know, your toughest opponent, I mean, we talked off the air about maybe your number one toughest opponent is yourself, because you're hard on yourself like a lot of people are. But another athlete that the name just jumped out at me when I read your profile was one of the greatest athletes I've seen. It's maybe the best out of Rice Lake that you competed against, that I saw run at the state meet. Went on, I think, in junior college, and I think he turned pro now.
Yeah, he actually has the world lead. He ran the world lead in the 200 the other day.
He meaning
Kenny Bednarik.
Kenny Bednarik, and I watched him run in high school. And have you stayed in contact with him at all?
I actually got a picture with him at state last year and talked to him a little bit, but I haven't talked to him much since he's gone pro. And yeah, I think that's incredible. He's the fastest guy in the world right now.
Yeah. Of course, when you think of the fastest people in the world, you think the name that jumps out at me is Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about Kenny Bednarik at some point too, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I think he was definitely looking forward to going to the Olympic trials this year.
Yeah.
So I think you'll definitely see him there next year.
You know, when you look at how do you become, again, Davis Wenthe, our guest, how do you become a Gatorade Athlete of the Year in the state of Wisconsin from GET, a little tiny GET, and you look at that, and how do you, young people, how can I be a Davis Wenthe? Well, it's attitude, it's work habits, it's handling pressure, it's handling setbacks. Setbacks? Yeah, you've had some injuries too.
Yeah, so my sophomore year was kind of derailed by, I had plantar fasciitis in both of my feet. At the time, we didn't really know what exactly it was. It was just kind of sharp pain in both feet, and I couldn't really do a whole lot. So I was told to rest and sit out and just give it time to heal. And yeah, so I went pretty much my whole sophomore year without training or competing, and then at conference I was just thrown back into all 4 of my events without really any practice or anything, and then yeah, same thing for regional, sectional, state, and I still made it to state in my events, but I definitely did not do how I would have liked, due to injury.
But because of the kind of person you are, because of your attitude, your character, how grounded you are, you were able to make it through those setbacks where a lot of people would fail. Well, it's a treat to have you come from Galesville to be on my show this week, and we wish you the best as you pursue a Division I career in the classroom and on the field, in track and field, to become a Badger. And next year, after your first year, we'll have you back on and talk about your experiences in year number 1 in Madison. So a guest this week, Davis Wenthe, GET, track and field. So thanks for being on the show, Davis.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. We'll be back with some closing thoughts right after this.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
When you're faced with the decision of selecting a monument to honor someone dear to you, call Lewiston Monuments for a no-obligation consultation. Lewiston Monument is a full-service monument company, serving families in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for over 4 generations. You'll find beautiful granite, marble, and bronze memorials, all at competitive prices. Their experts can help you design the perfect and unique memorial. Lewiston Monument. Call today or on the web at lewistonmonument.com.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. Davis Wenthe, our guest this week. What a tremendous young man. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Next week, we'll continue highlighting some high school athletes in the lacrosse area. I hope you can join us. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping that you have a successful and a healthy week ahead.